There is a moment when the categories fall apart. You still walk through the same rooms, answer the same emails, take the same route home, but the world starts speaking in a new grammar. A clock on a cafe wall reads 11:11, just as you think of calling someone you have not seen in years. A passage opens to the exact line you needed, though you do not remember placing that book there. A dream hands you an image you cannot dismiss, an old tree lit from within, and the next day you see its outline in the cracks of a city sidewalk. If this sounds like fantasy, Carl Jung would disagree. He would say that the deeper truth doesn't arrive with fanfare. It enters the psyche the way dawn enters a room, quietly, and then all at once you can see. We were taught to divide. Mind versus matter, subject versus object, me, in here, and the world out there. But division is a tool, not the territory. Jung named the older map, Unus Mundus, one world. Not a sentimental oneness, not a metaphysical slogan, but a sober recognition that the psyche and the cosmos are threaded by a common pattern. We meet that pattern in two places at once. Outside, as events that improbably rhyme. Inside, as images, numbers, and moods that possess a strange authority. When the inner and outer echo, we call it synchronicity. When a symbol refuses to be merely private or merely public, it stands at the threshold between worlds. In that threshold, your life stops feeling like random noise and begins to feel composed. The first step of living your truth in this frame is not to proclaim a new identity. It is to listen for the underlying music. Jung's point was radical. Number itself, before language, before rational theory, is already symbolic, already meaningful. One is not just a count. It is unity or loneliness. Two is not merely the next integer. It is tension and dialogue, separation and complementarity. Three is not accumulation. It is resolution, a new order that includes the conflict it transcends. Ancient minds intuited this, Pythagoras, Plato, the alchemists, because number kept showing up where the soul was at stake, in ritual proportions, sacred architecture, mandalas and medicine wheels, the cadence of chant and prayer. Modern minds rediscovered it in a different idiom, fractals, orders at the edge of chaos, the self-similar pulse of growth in ferns and coastlines and clouds. If the math intimidates you, let the image speak. Consider the Mandelbrot set, a universe grown from a simple rule. Zoom forever and the border never ends. Patterns recur, transform, recurse like myth retold across centuries. From one equation emerges a grammar of spirals, tendrils, galaxies within galaxies. And then there is its ghost, the Buddha-brot, trails of escaping paths revealing a luminous anthropomorphic figure, spine, aura, seated stillness, an icon that looks as old as the Himalayas and as new as a render farm. No mysticism required, just number iterated, revealed as form. Yet your nervous system knows an icon when it sees one. The image steadies attention. You breathe differently. A wordless recognition stirs. Jung's wager was that such images are not accidents of culture. They are stations on a perennial road the psyche must travel. He called the road individuation, the long homecoming in which the persona, the mask you needed to survive, loosens, the shadow, the traits you disowned, returns to be reclaimed, and the self, the organizing center of wholeness, begins to lead. Individuation is not the ego becoming bigger. It is the ego learning to serve something interiorly vast and intimately wise. In this light, living your truth is neither rebellion nor retreat. It is alignment. It is the slow, exacting choice to let your outer life rhyme with your inner knowing. Here the modern sciences help rather than hinder. Neuroscience shows that the brain is a pattern detector before it is a truth declarer. Default mode networks quiet in meditation and the world regains depth. Faces become more vivid, colors more sober and alive. Cognitive psychology notes that meaning is not merely found, it is made through attention. Where attention gathers, worlds cohere. Stoicism adds a discipline. Distinguish what is up to you, your judgments, choices, responses, from what is not, outcomes, other people's opinions. Taoism adds a posture. Move with the grain of reality, wu wei, effortless action, so that your doing arises from being, not from panic or performance. Depth psychology threads through them all, insisting that images and numbers are not decorations on reality, but clues to its structure.
So what actually happens when you begin to live your truth in this one-world way?
First, your perception changes before your circumstances do. You start to feel the difference between sparkle and resonance. Sparkle tempts your anxiety. Resonance settles your breath. Sparkle asks for speed. Resonance asks for a pause. You learn to test choices somatically. Where does my chest tighten? Where does my belly soften? Where does the next honest step feel small but clean? This is not magical thinking. It is precise attention to the organism that is your life. Second, language simplifies. You speak less to convince and more to be clear. You say no without villainizing anyone. You say yes without betraying yourself. Third, your time begins to organize around what is alive, not what merely appears important. You choose depth over drama, craft over credit, friendship over audience. Synchronicities will not make your bed or file your taxes, but they will tutor your trust. When inner work and outer events begin to rhyme, you experience an ethical pressure to live in coherence. Coherence is not perfection. It is integrity, that your actions, however modest, are faithful to the pattern you know. Under coherence, solitude shifts from exile to sanctuary. You stop auditioning for rooms that cannot hear you and cultivate the few that can. You recognize that losing false belonging is not loss, it is pruning. Every living system prunes to grow. The promise of this series is simple and demanding. We will learn to read the pattern and then live it. We will treat symbols not as superstition but as coordinates. We will let number be more than arithmetic. Let it be the old language the psyche uses when it wants to speak without permission from the ego.
We will bring Jung's vocabulary, self, shadow, persona, anima, animus, synchronicity, into conversation with myth, with contemplative practice, with the console-level settings of a nervous system learning safety and truth. We will not worship images or equations. We will use them as doors. If you have felt the itch of the mask, if you have noticed life rhyming in ways you cannot write off, if you are tired of managing impressions and ready to inhabit a center, welcome. The work is not to become special, but to become real. The self is not a throne you sit upon. It is a compass you carry. Each episode, we will take one facet: unity, duality, reconciliation, sign and symbol, chance and meaning, art as a map of coherence, and translate it into a practice you can keep. Because the one world is not elsewhere, it is here, when your inner life and your outer life stop pretending they are strangers. Take a breath. See what is already echoing. We begin. Before you ever learned arithmetic, you already knew what one felt like. One candle in a dark room, one voice that steadies you, one silence that fills the air. Two came later as attention, me and you, pull and push, moon and tide. Three resolved things intuitively, beginning, middle, end. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis, child bridging two parents. We treat numbers as tools, but they behave like characters in a myth. They do not merely count, they carry tone. Jung's wager was that this tonal quality is not a poetic flourish. It is foundational. Number is one of the psyche's first languages, older than words, earlier than doctrine. If that sounds abstract, try this. Close your eyes and bring to mind the felt sense of one. Notice how images gather around it. A circle, a horizon, a held breath. Now bring two. The line, the heartbeat split, lub-dub, call and response. Feel the slight alertness that comes with two-ness, the way your body prepares to relate or to defend. Now three, a triangle, a stool that can finally stand, the chord that resolves what two kept in argument. Your nervous system knows these shapes before your intellect explains them. That is Jung's point. Archetype is not just a theme in stories. It is a geometry your life keeps drawing. Ancient cultures never forgot this.
Pythagoras taught number as the bones of the cosmos. Plato cast creation in proportion. The alchemists orchestrated transformation by ratio. Solve et coagula written into furnace and vessel, sunrise and sunset, death and renewal. Their diagrams were not decorations, they were recipes. You can still feel it in old cathedrals and careful gardens, in mandalas and medicine wheels. Proportion is prayer, measure is devotion. Modernity did not erase this language, it translated it. We found fractals at the edge of chaos, scaling laws in biology, 1/f rhythms in music and heartbeats. We learned that growth is self-similar, and that complexity blooms when simple rules are iterated with patience. Consider how a single equation births the Mandelbrot set. From a humble recursion, an empire of forms. Zoom and a spiral appears, zoom again and a coastline, zoom further, and a cathedral of curls. Order and wildness, courting each other infinitely at the border. And then the Buddhabrot, the negative, revealing the luminous paths to infinity, arrives like a myth we somehow remember. It looks like a seated presence, a vertical axis of light, an aura of petals. You can explain it with math, and you should, but explaining it does not exhaust it. The image behaves like a mandala. It organizes attention, rearranges breath, invites the center to wake. Jung would call that dual citizenship, fully natural, fully symbolic. He warned us not to confuse symbolic with imaginary. A true symbol is not a private fantasy, it is a bridge, joining a pattern in the world to a pattern in you. Think of the way a repeated number catches your eye on a day when you were about to betray yourself. How a line in a book meets you exactly at the threshold of a decision. Skepticism is healthy, superstition is lazy. The work is neither to worship the sign nor to ignore it. The work is to ask, what inside me is this outer event echoing, and what action would bring coherence between the two? When you begin to live in this way, number stops being only an instrument and becomes a tutor. One asks, where am I unified and where am I isolated? Two asks, where am I polarized and what is the clean conversation that wants to happen? Three asks, what third thing, practice, boundary, new frame, could reconcile the fight without erasing either side? Four, the quaternity Jung loved, asks, what fourth element brings wholeness to my triangle? Body to mind, soul, spirit. Earth to fire, air, water. Practice to theory, feeling, will. These questions are not mystical riddles. They are design prompts for a life that wants integrity. Bring this to a concrete conflict. Suppose you were stuck between staying in a job that pays well but flattens your soul and leaping into work that feels alive but uncertain. Two pulls you into oscillation, security versus meaning. You argue from one side today, the other tomorrow. Three asks for a mediating pattern, a pilot project, a sabbatical, a clear runway of savings, a new cadence that tests reality without burning the bridge. Four insists that your body enters the conversation. Sleep, movement, food, breath. Decisions made by intellect alone ignore the instrument that must play the choice. The numbers are not magic. They are ancient ways of arranging possibility. Synchronicity enters here as grammar rather than spectacle. When inner work and outer event coincide meaningfully, a sentence lands. Proceed, but gently. Or, not yet. Or, turn around. The signal is not volume but fit. A true synchronicity rarely flatters your ego. It aligns your steps. It often arrives with quiet authority and asks for a small concrete act. Text the apology. Decline the invitation that your gut has resisted for weeks. Send the pitch to the exact person who came to mind unbidden. Then watch, not to force confirmation, but to notice whether coherence increases. Breath steadier, sleep cleaner, fewer compensations and heroic efforts to maintain a story you don't believe. This is where modern psychology and contemplative practice meet depth work. Attention is trainable. The more you practice noticing your physiological yes and no, the more precisely you can hear what number is asking in a given moment. If 2 has you in a tug of war, your shoulders will tell you. If 3 has arrived, you'll feel the slight exhale of a workable path. If 4 is missing, you'll see it in your calendar. All mind, no body. All output, no recovery. All insight, no ritual to install the change. Ritual does not mean incense in Latin, though it can. Ritual means repeatable shape. 10 minutes of stillness before screens. A weekly walk without headphones. A monthly audit of what drains and what feeds. These introduce proportion, living number, into time. Art keeps you honest. Watch what you draw in the margins, what shapes your eye hunts in cities, what patterns you photograph compulsively. Spirals, grids, branching trees, circles. Your aesthetic tells on your unconscious. If you keep seeing circles, perhaps 1 is calling. Return to center, simplify, unify. If triangles, perhaps 3 is tutoring you. Reconcile, compose, add the 3rd that makes the 2 workable. If lattices and squares, 4 may be asking for structure, a schedule, a practice, a boundary that gives the soul a floor to stand on. This is not fortune-telling, it is phenomenology. Attend to what returns. The ethical edge of all this is crucial. Symbols do not excuse avoidance. Numbers do not absolve responsibility. If you are in harm, leave. If you owe an apology, offer it. If you need help, ask. The language of pattern is meant to strengthen action, not replace it. Jung was allergic to spiritual bypassing. He did not ask us to float above life. He asked us to incarnate, more honestly, more wholly. Living your truth is not about becoming untouchable. It is about becoming congruent.
Congruence costs you the counterfeit protections, people-pleasing, constant performance, borrowed certainty, and gives you a sturdier shelter, a life that rhymes inside and out. A practice to end this part. 1 minute. Name the number you are living today. 1, 2, 3, or 4, and why. 10 minutes. Choose one micro-act that expresses that number's wisdom. Unify, dialogue, reconcile, stabilize. Evening check-in. Did coherence increase? If not, adjust the number tomorrow. You are not trying to master the cosmos. You are learning to be taught by it, and by the self that speaks its dialect through you. When number becomes a teacher, time becomes a studio, and you begin, quietly, to compose a life that counts in a new way. Stand before a coastline from a cliff, then kneel and scoop a handful of sand. The curve is the same at both scales. Bays inside bays, cusps inside cusps. Nature repeats herself, not to bore us, but to keep us oriented. A river delta in the branching of your lungs, lightning in the filigree of your nerves, a head of Romanesco in the spiral of a galaxy. Each announces the same truth. Reality loves recursion. Jung intuited this long before fractal entered popular speech. He saw that the psyche also repeats, dream within dream, story within story, a childhood scene refracted through adult choices. What is not integrated returns, often with a different mask, asking to be welcomed. The Mandelbrot set is that insight in mathematics, a frontier where order and wildness court each other forever. From a simple recurrence, infinite intricacy erupts. It's a parable of individuation. Iterate a sincere rule, tell the truth, keep the boundary, return to the breath, and your life complexifies, not into chaos, but into articulated depth. Each honest repetition spawns unforeseen beauty at the edges. Discipline, then, is not punishment. It is parameter. The rule frees the bloom. Turn the light negative and you meet the Buddha-brat, the luminous traces of escape. Points that flew to infinity paint a presence that looks suspiciously like an old deity. A seated axis, aureoles, petals of radiance. We can and should explain the image as paths through complex space. Yet explanation does not cancel symbol. Jung's distinction matters. An image can be both physically generated and psychologically generative. When a pattern produced by pure number also settles the breath and organizes attention like a mandala, we are near the bridge he meant. Mind meeting matter through form, the Unus Mundus hinting from behind the screen.
Why does that help anyone in the real mess of a Tuesday afternoon? Because your nervous system is a pattern detector long before it is a sentence maker. When something clicks, when a configuration feels right, your vagus nerve relaxes, your field of vision widens, time slows. Coherence is not a slogan. It is embodied physics.
Fractals are the world's way of whispering, trust the good repetition. If a tiny practice produces a self-similar benefit at larger scales, calmer mornings, cleaner speech, clearer decisions, it belongs. If a glamorous habit produces distortions as it scales, more speed, less soul, it does not. Let's make this tactile. Take a conflict you have replayed for years, a parent you cannot please, a colleague whose praise you chase, a lover you cannot stop rescuing. Map the smallest repeatable unit of the loop. Perhaps it is a single text at midnight, or the half smile you wear when you mean no, or the way your spine collapses when a certain tone arrives. That tiny motif is your seed equation. Change that, and the picture downstream cannot remain the same. This is fractal hygiene. Alter the generator, not the 1,000 consequences. Replace the midnight text with a rule. I answer only after sleep. Replace the half smile with a sentence. I'm not available for that. Replace the spinal collapse with a practiced breath and lift. Iterate for 30 days. Watch the coastline of your life redraw itself. Archetypally, the Buddha teaches another lesson. The path out leaves a trace worth contemplating. The very trajectories that escape write a figure of centeredness. In human terms, the exits we fear, leaving the fake friendship, declining the misaligned job, airing the truth that might disappoint, often carve the silhouette of a truer self. What looks like loss from the outside becomes an inner throne. You are not idolizing solitude, you are enthroning integrity. The image is a reminder. The path of refusal can be devotional when the refusal protects the sacred. Jung spoke of the self as an organizing center that arranges chaos into meaning the way a magnet orders iron filings. A good symbol accelerates that work. Consider how mandalas arise spontaneously in crisis, doodles in hospital waiting rooms, circular shrines of candle and photo at grief sites, circles within petals within axes, a blueprint for finding the middle and radiating outward again. The Buddha functions similarly for some minds, a vertical axis, a ground, a halo of complexity that remains tethered. When you are overwhelmed, pick a symbol that your body trusts, not to fix the problem, but to hold it while you act. The psyche performs better in a good room. Here is a practice to explore that room. 1. Select a symbol. It could be the Buddha, a triangle, a simple square, a cross of 2 lines, a tree. Choose what settles you, not what dazzles you. 2. Breathe with it. 3 minutes daily. Inhale. Notice the vertical. Exhale. Feel the horizontal. On the pause, sense the whole field. You're not worshiping geometry. You're rehearsing orientation. 3. Pair with a micro-act. Right after the breath, send the one message you've avoided, or drink the water, or step into sunlight for 60 seconds. Anchor symbol to movement. 4. Journal 1 line. Today's pattern is because. Keep it unimpressive. The point is frequency, not flair. That's iteration. The pattern gains power because you feed it attention and action in alternation. Mind/matter united, not by fantasy, but by repeatable behavior. Skeptics will ask, and should, whether we're projecting spirituality onto math. The honest answer? Sometimes yes. Humans overassign meaning when lonely, stressed, or untrained. But the remedy is not cynicism, it is discipline. 3 guardrails keep symbolic work from drifting into superstition. Test in the body. A real alignment reduces total compensation. Fewer white lies, fewer dramatic swings, less bracing. If your sign asks you to contort more, it's not a sign, it's a wish. Seek contradiction. If the pattern always confirms your preference, it's flattery. A real symbol will sometimes redirect or slow you down. Demand consequences. True guidance cashes out in behavior,
If nothing changes in speech, schedule, spending, or sleep, you have insight, not transformation. There is also a social ethic here. Patterns heal, but they can also exclude if hoarded. When you stabilize, you become a more reliable node in the fabric, less reactive, more responsive, a person whose inner weather does not punish the room. That reliability lets other people risk truth near you. In Jung's terms, you help constellate the self in the field, not just inside your skull. The Buddha shape is not a lone monk. It's a form that many can gather around to remember their center. The alchemists understood this as solve et coagula, dissolve what is false, cohere what is true. In practice, that looks like a cycle. Question, dissolve, feel, reform, test, refine. Fractals model this. They are born at the edge between stability and escape. Too rigid and the image dies into boredom. Too wild and it blows apart into noise. The living edge is where art and science meet. Sufficient rule, sufficient freedom. Translate that into a week. Keep 2 or 3 non-negotiables, sleep window, movement, 1 hour screen free, and grant yourself 1 or 2 wild cards. A new class, a long wander, a different route home. The blend prevents both stagnation and burnout. A short case, anonymized. A creator felt trapped between client work that paid and a project that sang. For years he cycled, overbook, resent, fantasize quitting, then overbook again. We mapped the seed equation. He said yes within 5 minutes to any urgent email. We inserted a simple fractal rule. 24-hour delay on all new commitments. Reply with a templated acknowledgement and proposed call slot. Within 3 weeks, his calendar stopped blooming uncontrollably. Within 6, he landed a patron for the sacred project. He did not manifest. He iterated a boundary that generated a new coastline for opportunity to touch. Fractals teach humility. Small rules, large worlds. They also teach patience. Most beauty appears after many iterations. This is why your change feels invisible for a while, then suddenly clicks. You were adding layers the eye could not yet resolve. Then one morning, your laughter sounds different, or your no arrives cleanly, or you stop narrating your worth to people determined not to hear it. The set rendered, you are not new, you are resolved. To close, a compass for the week. Monday, 1. Simplify one domain, desk, inbox, morning, to feel unity. Wednesday, 2. Stage a clean dialogue you've avoided. Listen for truth. Friday, 3. Design a third solution that honors both poles. Sunday, 4. Install a ritual that stabilizes next week's ground. Repeat for a month. Watch the pattern flower. On your screen, yes, but more importantly, in your speech and spine. Patterns are not there to impress you. They are there to apprentice you to a sturdier life. Place 2 clocks on a table. Start them at the same instant. In a week, each will have drifted. A second ahead, 3 behind. Yet sometimes, standing in a doorway you've never used, you check the time, and both faces read the same minute, the same tilt of the second hand. You feel a small, unreasonable warmth. Nothing happened, and yet something did. Inner and outer briefly clicked. Jung called that click synchronicity. A meaningful coincidence without a causal chain you can trace, an acausal bridge between psyche and world. Those moments don't prove a theory. They permit a life. They offer the felt sense that reality is not indifferent, only subtle. But subtle is not vague. If part 3 was about pattern as structure, part 4 is about pattern as message. How number, symbol, and coincidence can guide action without turning you credulous or controlling. Jung's caution applies. The unconscious speaks in images, not arguments. The art is interpretation with ethics. First, number. School taught you that numbers count sheep and balance budgets. But watch how your body reacts to one. A closed circle, a ring, a vow, aloneness, God. 2. Polarity, lover and beloved, conflict and complement. 3. Resolution, triangulation, child, synthesis. 4. Ground, seasons, directions, table legs, house. These meanings are not superstitions pasted onto digits. They are felt geometries that have co-evolved with human nervous systems for millennia. You do not believe in them, you notice them. The way you notice that a square room calms and a narrow corridor quickens. Jung once suspected that number is a key to the mystery. The key metaphor matters. A key doesn't explain the house, it opens the door. When the same number repeats around a decision, 3 pathways, 3 calls, 3 dreams, you might explore a third that includes the best of the first 2 options without erasing their tension. When 4 keeps appearing, stabilize. Paperwork, logistics, meal prep, money plant in the corner, earlier bedtime. When 2 dominates your week, move energy between the poles, a sincere hearing of the other side, or an honest declaration of your own. This is not fortune-telling, it is attunement. You are letting a simple constant, the character of number, help metabolize a complex situation, your life. Second, symbol. Suppose a white bird appears in 3 contexts: a dream, a mural on the walk to work, and the logo on a package you receive from an old friend. You could shrug and say, birds are everywhere. True. Or you could receive the cluster as a message about breath, distance, peace, migration, a chapter that wants sky. The test is not whether the bird is real. It is whether the reading produces clarity that cashes out in behavior with integrity and consequence. A cleaner boundary, a different commute, a conversation finally had, a micro-Sabbath each afternoon. Insight without consequence is entertainment. Third, coincidence. A well-lived day produces a manageable number of them. A frantic day produces none you can hear. That's the practical link between synchronicity and discipline. The quieter your field, the louder the messages. This is why monastic orders pair symbol with schedule, why brilliant labs pair whiteboards with fixed hours, why artists keep morning rituals superstitiously. You aren't enslaved to routine, you are muting noise enough to perceive signal. Here are 5 guardrails for working with synchronicity like an adult. 1. Assume multiplicity. The same sign can carry several true meanings. Choose the one that leads to the most honest action now. You can refine later. 2. Prefer courageous readings. If your interpretation conveniently lets you avoid the hard talk or the hard work, you've probably selected flattery, not guidance. 3. Cross-check with reality. An inner green light does not remove external constraints. If finances, health, or consent say no, your symbol asks for patience, not bypass. 4. Share the load. One trustworthy friend, therapist, or mentor can interrogate your reading without mocking it. This protects you from the echo chamber of your own longing. 5. Demand fruits, not fireworks. Look for downstream effects. Steadier sleep, less apologizing, clearer writing, cleaner money, deeper laughter. If months pass without fruits, change the frame. Now to the pitfall that ruins many fine minds. Magical thinking. It often masquerades as spirituality and can be summarized. If I read the signs correctly, I won't have to suffer choice. True guidance does not remove grief. It dignifies it. A good sign will lead you through the ache you have avoided. You will still risk, lose, and disappoint. The difference is that your losses will feel like offerings, not forfeitures. There is meaning, not martyrdom. We can anchor this with a small, reproducible drill I give to clients who oscillate between cynicism and mysticism. The 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 method. 10 minutes daily for 14 days. 1. Unity. Write 1 line naming the most honest truth of the day. No adjectives, no performance. I'm tired of being agreeable. I want to leave. I love this work. 2. Polarity. Identify 2 viable actions that honor that truth, even if they disagree. Cancel the meeting. Attend the meeting and tell the truth. Feel both in your body. 3. Synthesis. Craft a 3rd action that respects the best of each. Attend the first 20 minutes, tell the truth, and reschedule the rest for tomorrow. 4. Ground. Take 4 grounding steps immediately. Water, breath, text to confirm, calendar block. Then stop thinking about it. After 2 weeks, patterns emerge in your notebook. The same numbers recur around certain themes. Your 3s appear where you chronically frame life as a brutal 2. Your 4s are missing on the days you spiral. You'll see how often a single clean one at dawn, a sentence of truth, prevents a dozen shabby compromises by dusk. It's not mystical. It's mechanical in the kindest way. The Unus Mundus matters here not as doctrine but as posture. If there is one world underneath, then your job is not to force unity, but to cooperate with it. Cooperation looks like 3 behaviors. Concentration. Give weight to the moment you're in. Multitasking frays the bridge between inner and outer. Consecration. Treat your next action as a small rite. Write the email as if it will teach you how to write all emails. Wash the cup as if it's the last cup on earth. This sanctifies repetition and reveals pattern. Conversation. Expect reply. You act and watch. You watch and act. The world is not a vending machine. It is a partner that echoes sincerity more than cleverness. One ethical edge, synchronicity tempts people to claim specialness. The universe talks to me. It does. It talks to everyone. The useful question is not, do I hear? But, what do I become because I hear? If hearing signs makes you invasive, flaky, grandiose or vague, your practice harms the commons. If it makes you steadier, kinder, clearer, and more accountable, your practice feeds the field. The world is watching your fruits, not your language. A closing scene to take into your week. You're in a grocery line. You notice 3 small recurrences. The total ends in .33. The cashier's badge reads Trinity. Your receipt prints with 3 coupons you will actually use. You smile, not because you think angels curated aisle 7, but because your body remembers. Third way. You are about to send a brittle email forcing yes or no, and you draft a third that invites a boundary and a future. Later, you learn the relationship survived precisely because you refused the easy 2. Did the grocery store cause that wisdom? No. Did the world and your psyche partner for a moment to remind you of a language you already know? Yes. This is the real gift, not superstition, but participation. All of this remains simple, which is why it is difficult. You don't need rarer feathers or louder omens. You need quieter rooms, braver readings, smaller honest acts repeated until they scale. Number gives you a grammar. Synchronicity gives you timing. Symbol gives you soul. Your choices give you a life. There is a kind of help that does not humiliate. It does not diagnose from a height or flatter from a distance. It sits beside the wound, without decorating it or turning away. Jung called the posture required for this work unprejudiced objectivity, not the cold stare of abstraction, but a reverent, human willingness to face the whole fact of a person, beginning with oneself. Condemnation cages, collusion corrodes. Only acceptance with backbone creates the inner climate where transformation can root. Acceptance is widely misunderstood. It is not endorsement of harm or excuse for inertia. It is contact, full, honest, sensation-level contact with what is, so that something new can be chosen without the drag of denial. To change what you cannot face is impossible. To face what you refuse to name is unlikely. So we practice naming without theatrics and contact without collapse. The most direct arena for this practice is the shadow, those disowned traits, appetites, and fears we banish to keep our persona intact. You do not negotiate with the shadow by memo. You greet it like a host who refuses to turn the guest away, even if the guest arrives mud-soaked and loud. This is not indulgence. It is hospitality with rules. I offer a method to make that concrete. The Shadow Hospitality Protocol, 30 minutes once a week. 1. The threshold, 5 minutes. Sit somewhere ordinary, a kitchen table, a parked car. Write a single line that names the visiting force without euphemism. Envy toward a colleague, hunger to be admired, rage at my child's resistance, exhaustion that smells like despair. No story yet. You are opening the door, not inviting a speech. 2. The seat, 10 minutes. Give the force a chair in your imagination. Ask 3 questions on paper and answer each with 5 unemotional sentences. What is your function? What do you protect me from? What do you want if you could have it cleanly? What would you say if I promised not to argue for 5 minutes? You are not agreeing. You are listening without verdict. 3. The boundary, 10 minutes. Name 2 behaviors this force may not use, e.g.,
contempt, self-punishment, and 2 behaviors it may request, for example, a difficult conversation, a day off, a weight session, a therapist appointment. Then schedule 1 lawful action in the next 72 hours. Shadow respected becomes energy. Shadow shamed becomes sabotage. 4. The blessing. 5 minutes. Close with 1 line that thanks the force for its original protective intent, even if its methods have grown primitive. Gratitude rehumanizes you to yourself. Repeat this weekly for a month. Most people notice 3 outcomes by week 3. A. Less compulsive self-attack. B. Cleaner boundaries with others. C. A surprising return of play. You cannot hate yourself into holiness. You can only include yourself until you are strong enough to choose better. Why acceptance heals without letting anyone off the hook. Physiology. When you stop arguing with present reality, your nervous system shifts from threat to approach. Oxytocin rises, prefrontal functions return, choices widen. Ethics. Acceptance refuses self-lying. It says, "This is here." That honesty is the only ground for promises that mean anything. Alchemy. In Jung's language, the opposites, ideal versus impulse, must meet in a vase, an inner container, so they can cook into a third thing neither could achieve alone: character. Consider 3 domains where acceptance with spine changes everything. 1. Work. From performance to presence. You stay late to prove worth. You armor emails with brilliance. You defer rest until collapse buys permission. Try this. Accept that your worth will never be settled by output. From that acceptance, take 1 visible action that risks being ordinary in service of being exact. Decline the extra deck, but ship the 3 bullet points that truly decide the meeting. Watch how influence grows when theater shrinks. 2. Intimacy. From fusion or flight to contact. You either merge to avoid abandonment or vanish to avoid engulfment. Accept the mammal facts. Your body learned these patterns for a reason. Then practice micro-contacts that neither cling nor bolt. A hand on the counter while you say the unsayable in 1 paragraph. Then a glass of water together. Then a walk. Intimacy is not a verdict on your worth. It is a skill you practice at the speed of nervous systems. 3. Creativity. From grandiosity or apathy to devotion. You dream of the masterpiece or distrust beauty altogether. Accept that your taste arrived before your talent. Then set a devotional quota, 30 minutes daily, no audience. Not to produce, but to accompany the work that is trying to find you. Acceptance ends the romance with avoidance. The healer's hazard for anyone who guides others. If you lead, mentor, parent, or coach, the most dangerous move is to help from above or to agree from fear. Judgment hardens. Premature rescue infantilizes. Jung's counsel implies a third. Companionship with conscience. You carry 2 torches, truth and tenderness. If you dim truth to stay liked, you betray the work. If you dim tenderness to stay right, you betray the person. The art is to keep both fires lit in the same hand. A practice for this. Before a hard conversation, write 2 sentences you refuse to withhold, truth, and 2 forms of care you will offer regardless of the response, tenderness. In the room, say the truths with low volume and exact nouns. Offer the care concretely, time, resource, boundary that protects both. Exit without harvesting approval. The measure of the moment is not their immediate warmth. It is whether your words were accurate, necessary, and kind. Loving the enemy in the mirror. Spiritual slogans are easy until the unloved part of you knocks. Love your enemies sounds noble until the enemy is your own pettiness, your inertia, your craving for applause. Here acceptance becomes ferocious. You are not merely tolerating a flaw. You are converting an enemy into a worker. You want applause, you say to vanity. Okay, earn it by crafting sentences that serve. Applause may or may not come, but the work will have deserved it. You have just transmuted a vice into a vow. 3 transmutations to practice. Envy, apprenticeship. Identify exactly what the other person's craft demonstrates.
Then schedule a lesson to learn it. Envy that studies becomes skill. Anger, boundary. Translate the hot story, they always, into a single behavioral request with a consequence you can keep. Anger that speaks cleanly becomes protection. Laziness, mercy. Sometimes fatigue is rebellion against cruelty. Rest on purpose, an hour you name and honor. Then return to the next honest inch. In that light, laziness becomes pacing. The hard limit. Acceptance does not mean staying. There are rooms where acceptance means leaving. If a context repeatedly requires your self-betrayal to function, the moral act is exit. Accepting that truth is more painful than postponing it, but postponement taxes the soul with interest. Make a to-list to clarify. Column A, what this place asks you to become. Column B, what you promised your life to become. If A negates B, you have your answer. Leave kindly, not coyly. A small liturgy for hard days, 7 minutes. Hand on heart, 30 seconds. I will not lie to myself today. 3 lines, 2 minutes. Name one truth, one fear, one desire. One boundary, 2 minutes. Write the sentence you will actually say. One mercy, 2 minutes. Schedule fuel, walk, meal, text to a friend. Closing, 30 seconds. I am not my roles, I am not my reactions. I am the one who can choose the next honest inch. If you practice this for a week, you will discover that acceptance is not passive. It is preparatory power. It primes the psyche to hear synchronicities without outsourcing agency, to read numbers without dodging responsibility, to feel symbols without fleeing the task. Most of all, it breaks the habit of self-violence. And when you stop waging civil war inside, your outer conflicts begin to simplify. Fewer battles, cleaner stands, better sleep. A final scene. You sit at day's end, a failure still warm in your hands. The old reflex rises. Attack, defend, disappear. You choose neither. You say aloud, "This happened. It hurts. I will not punish myself to prove I care." You drink water. You write the email that takes responsibility without theater. You set the smallest next step and keep it tomorrow. Nothing mystical occurs, and yet the axis turns a fraction toward wholeness. That is acceptance at work. Not a slogan, but a sturdy kindness that lets your life become accurate. Integration is quieter than crisis and harder than insight. It is where revelation must pay rent, where the poetry of awakening becomes the prose of a day. Jung never promised that wholeness would feel triumphant. He implied something sterner and more beautiful, that we would become simple enough to be exact, courageous enough to be kind, and faithful enough to belong to the one life, not as an idea, but as a schedule. If there is a doctrine here, it is Unus Mundus lived locally, not cosmic talk. Breakfast, inbox, evening walk. The same coherence that threads galaxies through law must be permitted to thread your minutes through meaning. The bridge is not theory, it is practice. Repeated until your nervous system recognizes the music and calls it home. Consider 3 daily sacraments, small repeatable acts that make the union of mind and matter felt. 1. The sacrament of accuracy, morning. Before the world's velocity claims you, let the psyche set the key. Open a blank page and answer 3 lines, no more. Fact. What is undeniably true about today? 1 sentence. Feeling. What is the honest weather in the body? 6 words, max. Fidelity. What is the next right inch, not the impressive yard? This is a vow against spectacle. You are tuning to truth over theater. Numbers might later run your calendar, but meaning sets the vector. When you begin with accuracy, you stop negotiating with fantasy. The day arranges around coherence. 2. The sacrament of boundary, midday. At noon, ask one Jungian question of whatever irks you most. Which opposite am I refusing to include? If you are furious, what tenderness is missing? If you are pliant, what edge? Integration is not the lukewarm average. It is the charged holding of opposites until a third way appears. Then, write one boundary you will speak today, and one mercy you will offer today. Say both before the hour ends. This keeps your ethics from floating and your compassion from leaking. 3. The Sacrament of Reverence, Evening. Reverence is not piety, it is precision about value. Light is a discipline. End the day by naming one moment that felt like alignment, not success, alignment, and one moment that bent you away from yourself. Bless the first, atone for the second with a small, specific repair scheduled for tomorrow. The psyche learns through kept promises. Synchronicity visits rooms where promises are kept. The number and the name. You do not need to see the Buddha brought or memorize equations to live as if reality is ordered and intimate. Still, there is wisdom in noticing that number behaves like myth, that 1 speaks of unity and aloneness, that 2 evokes tension and relation, that 3 creates a synthesis neither side could invent. Let today take a number. If you are scattered, give the day a 1. 1 task finished well, 1 conversation finished cleanly, 1 meal eaten slowly. Unity. If you are numb, give the day a 2. Bring 1 avoided tension into contact. Call, name, ask. Relation. If you are stalemated, give the day a 3. Find the third way. Shorten the meeting and ship the draft. Say the boundary and bring dinner. Rest for 20 minutes and return. Synthesis. Numbers are not magic, they are handles. They let the hand close around the invisible so the body can carry it forward. When the world does not cooperate, you will do this well for 3 days and then life will tangle. Grief returns, deadlines collide, someone you love refuses your new steadiness. Expect regression. Jung warned that development moves in spirals, not ladders. The test is not whether old ache visits, it is whether you remember faster and repair sooner. Remember faster. Catch the moment you start performing. Breathe once. Put your feet on the floor. Say internally, I don't earn my place by pleasing. Repair sooner. If you broke your word to yourself or another, do not compose an opera of apology. Offer a sentence that names the miss and the new promise, then keep it. Character is kept, repairs. And when condemnation rises, yours toward you or theirs toward you, return to the kernel. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Acceptance is the key in the lock. Action is the turning of the wrist. One without the other leaves the door closed. Companionship with the invisible. Live as if the field is listening, not superstitiously but sacramentally. Treat patterns as conversation, not command. If a symbol stalks you, a color, a word, a dream recurring, give it 1 hour of response in the next week. Paint it, research it, walk with it, speak it aloud. Do not mortgage your agency to omens. Collaborate with them. We are not puppets of the unseen, we are partners. The psyche loves partners. The ethics of saying no. Wholeness will ask for exits. Some contexts, teams, rituals, identities, were scaffolds for a younger self. You can bless them and leave. Do it plainly. I'm grateful for what this gave me. It no longer fits the truth I'm responsible to. Send a gift if appropriate. Don't hover to manage their impression of you. The Unus Mundus is generous, but it is not sentimental. It prunes. The courage to be ordinary. Fame is not the same as influence, and influence is not the same as depth. The one world will not measure your life by virality. It will measure by accuracy and kindness repeated until they groove the soul. That means long stretches where no one claps, and the work remains stubbornly human-sized. Endure that interval. It is sacred training. The self chooses devotion over display, until devotion leaves a fragrance of its own. A field guide for the next 90 days. Week 1 to 2. Stabilize the morning page. 3 lines daily, even if the feeling is blank. Week 3 to 4. Add 1 shadow session weekly, the hospitality protocol. Keep the boundary you name inside it. Week 5 to 6. Practice 2 fires in 1 hand before each hard conversation. 2 truths you won't withhold, 2 cares you'll offer regardless. Debrief only with yourself. Week 7 to 8. Choose a number for each day, 1/2/3, and live accordingly. Note results without drama. Week 9 to 10. Create a Sabbath for symbols. 1 hour weekly to respond to what haunts or blesses your attention. Make something small. If you keep this arc, you will not become perfect. You will become transparent, light passing through a clean pane rather than refracted by distortions you no longer need. People around you will feel it as relief. Fewer games, clearer asks, warmer no's, truer yeses. This is not mystical. It is maturity. A closing vow. There is an image I carry, a small kitchen at dusk. The counter is cluttered. The day did not obey.
You stand there with the dull ache of an unfinished life and the tender pride of someone who told the truth anyway. You pour water. You set the phone down, screen black. In the window, the city exhales. You say, almost casually, I will not abandon myself. No thunder answers, but something answers. A minute later, the right next action arrives. You take it. This is how the one world becomes this world. One exact step, then another. If these words have been company, let them now become instructions. Practice the morning accuracy, the midday boundary, the evening reverence. Respect the shadow like a storm you learn to navigate. Welcome synchronicity like weather, not law. Choose the smallest, honest inch when you are tempted to perform. Refuse to make an enemy of any part of you that once protected your life. This is how a civil war ends. This is how a person becomes a place where others can rest. You are not late. You are not behind. The pattern has always included you. Go live in a way that proves it to your own bones.